is a member of the church and a member of our board of directors, and has for most of his life sought a greater understanding of God and himself as a servant of God. Today, in this service, we are celebrating with David. On August 13th, 1997, this year, he received his ordination as a minister of the Universal Life Church. There are times when ceremony is required for events such as weddings and funerals, and the state chooses to recognize ordained ministers as qualified to perform such ceremonies. There are other times when, even though it's not required, ceremony proves to be something inspiring and helps us to bring forth a greater realization of the presence of God. Well, today, that is the type of ceremony we are offering David. This falls in that category. There is no ceremony that is required by the Universal Life Church to consider David legally ordained to perform weddings and funerals and christenings and the like. His ordination papers were sent to him through the mail and required only his signature of receipt. Outwardly, his ordination was without fanfare. But in fact, David, ordination comes not through the mail, correct? But directly from God and hand-delivered in consciousness to his apostles. And that is why David has been searching all his life. David, would you come up here? We are here in this moment with David to receive his outward commitment to a life of ministry, a life solely devoted to God and the development of God's truth among his people. That's quite a task, David. And we offer you an outward blessing, an outward acceptance of you as a minister of God. Do we not? Amen. David has worked to prepare himself for this responsibility. He received his license to preach through the Methodist Church in 1968 and is now at Atlantic University in search of his MA and will graduate in 1999. Clearly, David has proven that he is serious about this endeavor. What it looks like, I think he doesn't know in the end. But I do know that there is a commitment that lives in his heart, and it's presented to him today. With ordination comes great responsibility. No longer are you David Grinstead, son, husband, father, student, salesman, seeker. Upon ordination, you were officially given the responsibility of carrying the light of God's children. That is in addition to the role of son, husband, father, student, and all the like. First on the list of who you are is not David, but light bearer. Not just a little spark is required, but a blaze of God's light. A minister must, if he is to remain in communication with God's people, continually be in communication with God himself. He must be educated to the workings of Spirit and the workings of Spirit in his people. A minister must be prepared to answer and counsel individuals with the toughest questions of faith and answer those questions yourself. He must be willing to walk into the burning building of a lost soul's heart to rescue that soul from his own destruction. A minister is expected to live in a manner that sets the highest example for others to follow. And that is not always easy. It requires honesty, integrity, compassion, love, and strength. Most of all, David, a minister must always put God's will above his own will. Are you prepared to do this? Then let us seal this. Would you bring the necklace? David has a necklace that represents ordination to him. It is threefold. It has 3 medals in it to represent the Trinity. It also has the circle to represent life everlasting, no beginning, no end. And it also has the cross, the crossing out of all error of thought, of all things that are unlike love and unlike God. And therefore, this day, this necklace represents your ordination, baby. And finally, a poem written by David. Would that I wear this collar. What will become of me? My will, my essence, my independence of thought? Does it all just go away? To stand on that podium, raised above all others, forced into the symbolic lie that I must fill a position above that of others. What of it? To follow the way is to file behind the Master, to step in his footsteps, to walk in his shoes, not to be raised, but to be lowered, to kneel at the feet of others, not in fear or servitude, but in the position of grace. For as the Master has washed my feet, so shall I wash the feet of others. In the way is the way of freedom. The way of the Master is the way free of fear, the way free of tyranny. It is the way to live love, the way to love. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Reverend David Grimm.